Cognitive Interfaces. Chapter 11. Psychopharmaceuticals and Megalomania. Every time I'm here, I realize I came for one single reason: to validate that one is real. If any chemical has the power to transform everything you consider real and throw it in the trash, then how do you know the world you're so immersed in is real? You don't know. Well, neither do I. I realize this now. Many times we try to escape for a while or jump from one place to another when we get bored of everything we're so accustomed to seeing and feeling is real, only to always arrive at validating the same answer: I am real. It's very curious how chemistry has given shape and meaning to things. Many times I felt deceived by this. Several times I said, the brain is a trap and the reality is that no. It warns you in advance how it's going to be. The trap is us, the beings who inhabit it. The primordial algorithm. There exists an ancient code running beneath everything. Before you knew your name, before you learned to distinguish day from night, that algorithm was already operating. You inherited it from your parents, they from theirs, and so on until losing itself in a chain no one can trace to its origin. This primordial algorithm has a simple function: to keep you alive. To do this, it builds interfaces, mental filters that process reality and return it to you packaged, digestible, manageable. The problem is that over time we confuse the interface with reality itself. It's as if someone looked at the world exclusively through a dirty window and believed the entire universe had a yellowish tint. Philosophy has been discussing this for centuries. There are those who maintain that the only thing we can be absolutely certain of is our own mind. Everything else could be illusion, projection, dream. The famous "I think, therefore I am" says nothing about the external world. It only confirms that there is something that thinks. That something is you. But this shouldn't scare you. On the contrary, if the only certainty is you, then all the power of transformation also resides there. Chemistry as key. I consumed acid. Saying it like that, directly, without euphemisms. Because euphemisms are part of the problem. That tendency to hide what we really do, feel, seek. When a molecule has the power to dissolve in hours what you believed solid for decades, something is revealed. The reality you took for granted was a construction. Not a lie, but yes, a version, one of many possible ones. Researchers who study these substances have discovered something fascinating. Under their effects, brain regions that normally operate separately begin to communicate with each other. It's as if departments of a company that never talked to each other suddenly started sharing information. The result is a more integrated, more unified brain. And with that integration comes something they call ego dissolution, the sensation that the boundaries between you and the world become diffuse. This doesn't mean the ego is bad. The ego is the interface that allows you to function, work, relate. But when that interface is confused with the totality of what you are, you lose yourself. You believe you are your work, your history, your fears, your achievements. And no, you are the observer behind all that. Chemistry doesn't create this truth, it reveals it. That's why I came here, again and again, to remember what the daily noise makes me forget. Right and left, the two voices. I looked at myself in the mirror. I began to realize that two hemispheres exist in my face, very distinct from each other. I felt them as separate entities, as companions that have accompanied me since I was born. All the time they are competing to take command of attention. Neuroscience confirms this intuition. It's not that we literally have two personalities, but we do have two modes of processing reality. One is analytical, sequential, verbal, the one that plans, measures, judges. The other is holistic, intuitive, spatial, the one that perceives totalities, recognizes patterns, feels without words. In daily life, both collaborate, but there is a cultural imbalance. Education, work, society as a whole reward the analytical mode. From childhood, we're taught to reason, calculate, argue. The other mode, the one that connects with emotion, art, mystery, is relegated, atrophied. What I saw in the mirror was this tension made visible, right and left, fighting for control. And in the middle, almost invisible, something more, the center. The center and the tension. In the center, I saw the person I always wished to become, a person who has real difficulties coming out because there are solid, ancestral constructions that prevent my body and soul from freeing themselves and being able to live there, in the center. The center is not a physical place. It is a state. It is what happens when opposing forces stop fighting and find balance. Depth psychology speaks of this as individuation, the process of integrating the fragmented parts of oneself into a functional totality. But there was something preventing me from accessing that center, a tension I naturally exerted in the body. A physical contraction, almost involuntary, that kept the entire system in a state of permanent alert. I realized that this tension, located in the lower torso area, in the groin, in the belly, was a mechanism of repression. Something I learned to do without knowing when I learned it. Ancient traditions knew this. They spoke of energy centers in the body, of blockages that prevent the natural flow of vitality. It doesn't matter if you believe in energy as a mystical concept or prefer to think of it in terms of chronic muscular tension, the result is the same. The body stores what the mind doesn't want to process. The symbolic birth. I freed myself from the tension, and then I felt as if I were about to give birth, as if what was about to come was a birth. Every time I try to capture this idea, it's difficult because I want to capture the infinite. The symbol of pregnancy appeared forcefully, and upon exploring it, I understood. I was gestating something, a vocation, a purpose, a reason for being that I had kept repressed under layers of obligations, fears, others' expectations. I realized that researching human behavior connects me with my mother, and there I fell. Narcissism. Author's note on the previous text. The text you just read, I wrote some time before detecting my own narcissistic behavior. That's why it carries a different title from the original, which was "The Only Real Thing is Oneself." Because reading it today, I distance myself from the hypothesis I held that day. It's true that something was gestating, an analogy with pregnancy that still seems valid to me. But what was about to be born was not a philosophical revelation. It was the recognition of a narcissistic personality that had operated silently for years. A personality fed, among other things, by a maternal bond charged with excessive love. That type of love that, by excess, sometimes distorts more than it nourishes. I still feel genuine passion for studying human behavior, but the vision of that day had a grandiosity that today I recognize as symptom, not lucidity. The megalomania I perceive in those lines speaks to me of something that was lacking: maturity to understand the correspondence between the world of ideas and the material world. Thinking is not the same as manifesting. Intuiting is not the same as knowing. And writing about consciousness doesn't make us more conscious, sometimes only more skilled at hiding from ourselves. Perhaps tomorrow I'll give it another perspective. That is the nature of this type of text. They are not conclusions, but snapshots of a process. I leave the original text because it forms part of the path, but with this note as counterweight. The honesty this book proposes starts right here, by recognizing that the author also writes from their own distorted interfaces, and that part of the work is, precisely, making them visible. The tree and the spiral. I went out wanting to devour the world, and suddenly, a tree. What am I going to be able to teach this giant? I felt small. I looked up and couldn't believe all the things that tree had gone through. It must have been at least hundreds of years old. I could see how information descended from the highest point and reached the deepest part of the earth. The roots, although not uncovered, I felt them there, influencing the shape of the ground. And on the ground, I saw a spiral. At first, I doubted whether my brain was drawing it or whether it was really there. But then I verified. The millions of small leaves that had fallen over time were marking the path of the air. And yes, it was a perfect spiral. Trees appear in all cultures as symbols of the axis that connects worlds. Roots in the earth, trunk in the present, branches toward the sky. They are organic antennas, receivers and transmitters of information that we don't know how to read with the analytical mind, but that the body recognizes. The spiral, for its part, is the pattern of growth. It appears in galaxies, in snails, in DNA, in hurricanes. It is the form energy takes when it expands without losing its center. That both symbols, the tree and the spiral, appeared together was not coincidence. It was a message. Grow upward without forgetting the roots. Expand without losing the center. The problem of feeding. I noticed that an agent was operating against me to find the center: obesity, bad feeding, bad nutrition, terrible chemical absorption, and with all that, terrible consciousness. My happiness was being attacked by my denial to recognize that I have a problem with food. I live exhausted, drained, very tired of having to hide my belly all the time. I could really see my two hemispheres dry, exhausted, working to hide the obesity of this body. Specialists who study the relationship between emotions and body weight have documented this extensively. Behind compulsive eating, there are almost always unprocessed emotions. One eats to fill voids, to calm anxieties, to feel something that was lost again. Emotional hunger has nothing to do with real hunger. And there is something more. Excess food represses sexuality. It functions as a protective mechanism. Obesity can be an armor. But armors are heavy, and eventually, the cost of wearing them exceeds the benefit of protection. It's enough just to take a few minutes and give caresses to the body, to thank it for all the work it has been doing, to have compassion for it. That is heaven. The previous is anger. That is the duality. The obsolete sexual algorithm. There is an instinct of creation that is constantly firing events, alarms, alerts at us to see if we match with another being to reproduce. There is a primitive algorithm that is still being compiled in our matrix. Every time we enter a human group, the first thing this algorithm does is scan the people and see with how many of them we can reproduce. This algorithm has become obsolete. It is clouding us from the enormous possibility that knowing the other person in depth implies dialoguing, seeing them beyond a sexual object. What's curious is that this same algorithm generates its own vicious circle: the desire to be desired, the frustration of not being valued, the attempt to compensate for that frustration with more exposure or more withdrawal. And in the midst of all that, the real person, the one who exists beyond their body and reproductive potential, becomes invisible. Valuing one's own achievements, recognizing them, being grateful, developing this alternative algorithm in daily life serves as protection. Because there will always be people who, without wanting to, attack your inner security. But if the center is solid, those attacks don't penetrate. Temporal complicity. There is something that happens when a person flows in some artistic activity of freedom and total surrender. They feel as if they were being observed by other entities. And what if that sensation came from ourselves or others in another temporal space? I can say that I practically feel all of you who are reading me in another temporal space. What I'm being able to put into words at this moment is nothing more than a fully lived memory. I can feel each entity that surrounds me, and I feel comfortable living with them. Really, I can feel you. It's very curious how you can feel someone from the future now. This idea appears in many traditions, the notion that time is not a straight line, but something more complex, more folded, that past, present, and future coexist in some way that our linear mind cannot normally capture. Shamans from diverse cultures speak of traveling between worlds, not only spatial, but temporal. The cosmic tree that connects sky, earth, and underworld also connects what was, what is, and what will be. When I write this, I am creating a bridge. You, who read it at some moment that for me is future, complete the circuit. Temporal complicity is not metaphor. It is the very structure of communication between consciousnesses. Everything is for you. Each letter, each word is for whoever is looking at that moment. The inner child and the system. I think that what makes us more organized and more focused today as adults is what most deprives us of our inner child. If someone has their inner child alive, as adults, the first thing we try to do is turn it off by demonstrating to them the why of ordered adult life. There is something obscene about this. The child doesn't need to be explained why they should stop playing. They need a world where play and work are not opposites. Substances and imbalances. If you see that you need external substances to feel more, or better, or freer, I would first start by asking myself, why? This I learned in recent years. When we need external chemicals to feel better, it's because there is an internal chemical imbalance that needs to be observed. Perhaps a psychiatrist can help. But the reality is that the psychiatrist only has the obligation that you be functional to society. They won't worry too much if you have work, have family, and aren't dangerous. There is a difference between using a substance as escapism and using it as a tool of exploration. Escapism seeks to flee from something. Exploration seeks to find something. Escapism is repetitive and each time needs more dose. Exploration has an arc, a learning, a closure. The question is not whether you use or don't use. The question is, what are you looking for, and did you find it? The beloved cognitive algorithms. You will never be as young as now. This moment, the one you're living while reading, is the youngest you will be in what remains of your life. Tomorrow, you will be a day older. Next year, a year. This is not pessimism, it is urgency. The cognitive algorithms running in your mind were programmed by others, parents, teachers, culture, trauma. But you can rewrite them. Not from one day to the next, not with a single insight, but yes, with sustained practice. Every time you choose to respond instead of react, you're editing the code. Every time you question a belief you assumed as truth, you're debugging. Every time you allow yourself to feel something uncomfortable without escaping, you're updating the operating system. The mind is programmable, and you have access to the source code. The center found. I consumed acid. I looked at myself in the mirror. I saw the duality. I saw the center. I made friends with my body. I know why I came to this world. To research human behavior and record everything in this book. For you. The journey doesn't end here. Actually, it's just beginning. Because now that the purpose is clear, comes the hardest part. Sustaining it day to day, when there are no substances that facilitate clarity, when the noise of the world returns to cover the signal. But there is something that changed forever. I know the center exists. I know how it feels to be there. And although I lose myself 1,000 times, I have the map back. One is real. And from that one self, solid, centered, connected, it is possible to build everything else.